Time we'll call Tuesday, August 17th, 2021, meeting of the Jackson County Board of Supervisors to order. Supervisors Lane McDevitt, Mark Steinis, and myself, Jack Wu. We have Deputy Auditor Shelley Hoy taking the minutes today, because Lisa is off helping celebrate the birth of her second grandchild. And Warren Beck and Luann Bulkey, our administrative secretary, is back from vacation. We're all thankful for that. And before we start, I would just like to extend our sympathy to Jan Ward's family, a longtime employee of Jackson County who passed away. And her visitation is this afternoon and her funeral tomorrow. And our prayers and thoughts are with her family. First item on our agenda this morning is David Dreyer, Jackson County Engineer.
Morning, I got just two quick items, both related to the same project. It's for the bridge replacement on 475th Avenue in Washington Township, just south of 52, where 475th and 495th branch apart. We have a agreement with IDOT, essentially outlining the requirements that we have to follow for the project. Preliminary estimated total cost of $350,000. This is just a precursor to letting plans for bid, and it is a project that would proceed next year. So we would.
Where is it at again?
It's on 475th Avenue, where it forks off from 490, right? Actually. And as part of that project, we had to purchase a small parcel of property for additional right of way of a quarter of an acre, 0.24 acres. At a unit cost of $9,900 per acre. So the cost for that would be $2,376. And that's the second item on the agenda for the right of way contract with the photographers.
Oh, you need action on the first item
Yes,
first,
and
right?
then-
I would
yeah.
make a motion to approve the project agreement for 475th Avenue Bridge as presented.
I would second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
It was on the 5-year road plan. correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then second is as I said, a small parcel of additional property needed for construction. $2,376 to Gary and Lisa Photographer for additional right of way.
Motion to approve.
I would second.
With this motion and a second to approve the right of way purchase from Gary and Lisa Holcraft. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried.
That's all I have. Thank you.
If you want to just maybe give a little summary of we had a meeting last week with Buchanan County.
Yes,
I
we
mean,
did.
Clayton and Brian and Dave and myself and Alex were all aboard.
I don't think there were no issues identified as related to Alex's work. I think they were trying to look for work and consistency so that they can keep him moving. They have some work they may be securing in the future, which would keep him busy. He is working on a bridge design for us currently. And as I noted previously, the bridges inspections are on a 2-year cycle, so we don't have as many bridges to inspect. So we won't have as much work for him as we have in previous years. I think overall, though, everybody was happy with the way things have gone. I didn't hear anything concerning from Buchanan County.
No, not any of them really had anything bad to say that it wasn't working out for them. I guess, like they said too, they're in the same boat. They might not have as many projects next year either. I know, I just want to make sure that, I know he's done some work with conservation and different people.
And
That's coming off his hourly that we need to have allocated, yeah.
And that works out fine for us.
And we discussed briefly, you know, if we had some projects going on and he wasn't busy, he could maybe come down here for 2-3 days in a row and, you know, help us out if Dave needs help somewhere.
I think that's what we should do.
Come up with something, yeah. I mean, we need to utilize them if we're gonna have them.
Absolutely.
But all in all, everybody was happy.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Becky Chapin, Human Resource Director, and John Patillo, on the Veterans Affairs Commission. Good morning.
Everybody okay today?
You're good.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
weather's great.
Yeah.
and Should be fishing, you know that.
John,
Never heard that before.
I ain't catching any fish. We ain't fishing very long. so.
Now I remember who you are. Right there.
So as you are aware, the Commissioner's Veterans Affairs Director has tendered her resignation, which will be effective on September 10th. The Veterans Affairs Director is currently a part-time position. However, the commissioners have met and reviewed the position description, the work expected, the outreach they're wanting to be conducted, and they would like for the director position to be a full-time position. With that obviously comes budget challenges, because as we budgeted for this fiscal year, we budgeted for 1 full-time assistant and 1 part-time director. So there will be a little bit of a shortfall in the budget if the board were to be open to this proposal. The current position of director is budgeted at 24 hours a week. There's a salary allocated to that of $29,500. If the commission were to look at replacing her with a full-time position at the same rate, there would be a budget shortfall of just over $10,000. It would be about $39,750 minimum for somebody to work at the current hourly rate, 35 hours a week, which is our standard full-time position. With that, the variable of insurance always comes into play. We do not provide insurance to our current director. She doesn't need it. With a new position, there's always the potential that they would need to pick that up. We know that's about an $18,000 county swing right there. Insurance for this specific position actually comes out of Department 1. We budgeted all of those Fund 1. And right now that budget line is sitting at 7.36%, and we're at 13.25% of the year. So we did that line had a little bit of variables planned in for that, for positions like this, where individual department budgets that budget are more specific to the staffing they have at the time that we budget the insurance. So the main thing for this budget would be the shortfall in the salary if this were to go to a full-time position. They ended their budget year last year at just over 91% spent. So they did return a little over $10,000. So there could be some room to absorb some of that salary. Again, with the new director in place, we just don't know what their aspirations will be and where that money will be spent. So there's potential there to not need the full 10,000 that they would be asking for. They also, we discussed last night, we met, and they would like to offer a salary range of the $39,750 that it would set at now, up to $45,000 if they were to get somebody that's already accredited and been through the national accreditation. If they haven't been through that, it is required by code to get it within 1 year. Again, they could consider offering a lesser salary until that accreditation has been completed, and then they can move them up to that
So
45.
we would pay for that accreditation then?
Yes, yes.
That's usually a national school somewhere where they have to go to for a week, and that's a couple times a year.
So if the new director would come on full-time, as I see it right now, we have an assistant that puts in 30 hours.
30.
Would the assistant's hours then go back to 20 per se? I mean, if your director was here full-time, do you still need your assistant?
Yeah, I think we do, Mike.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, I was just questioning, you know.
exactly. No, it's gotten to be where, as you know, in some of this information you have in fiscal 19, this office brought in a little over 9 million, and in 20 it went to 11.3. So there's a 1.6 million increase in just that time that benefits to this county. But along with that comes additional workload and more administrative duties for the director. Seems like the VA is constantly changing protocol, and government works, you know how that goes. And so it seems like with a part-time director that if she's in the office for 3 days a week, 2 days might be taken up for administrative duties, which puts a heck of a workload on the assistant, and that's one of the main reasons that we're asking for a full-time director. And seems somehow along the way, we got the cart in front of the horse, where the department director is part-time and the assistant is full-time, you know.
Well, I think that was by request too.
Yeah.
Yes,
At
it
that
was.
time.
Yeah. Well, at that time, it was the director did not want to be full-time and because of she has 3 children, obviously. So that was the way to go at that time. I'm just trying to rectify this one. Maybe we should make this position a full-time. And one of the other things that worries me, I guess, is I look at the newspaper nowadays, and I mean, I see 5, 6 pages of ads for people wanting to get hired. And I'm just concerned that if we aren't full-time and don't pay a quality salary, that we won't get a person that is qualified to fill this position. And I think it is very important to have a good person in this slot, as you can see with the income that it benefits the citizens of this county. And so I would hope you would look favorably on him moving this position to full-time.
I did put on the little sheet that we handed out, this is the geographic information on the millions of dollars that are allocated to each of the counties, the salaries of the ones that were listed on that sheet. I look closely to like Cedar County, for example, because they service 1,400 veterans. We service 13,655, so we're very comparable. There's quite a disparity in the salaries there, even though ours is part-time right now. Even if they were able to recruit somebody at the 39, which would be the low end, given the base of the population they're serving, it's still, you know, quite a bit below.
Well, then you're up there in the range of, you know, where they get veteran population in the 3,600, you know.
Well, Cedar County has 1,400
Yeah,
and their
like
full-time
Clinton
is
County
58.
is
Yeah,
close to 39 and they got 36.
right.
Which, and they have more support staff.
Well, that's what I'm wondering,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, they have more CDSOs.
You're talking here just a director. is
Just
that
the
correct?
director, correct, yeah.
I thought this department did really well. In fact, from going from fiscal 19 to 20, that we increased the income and losing 102 veterans in the county during that time. So we're reaching out at we've had such a great response to the letter that Debbie sent out to all the veterans that we had addresses for in the county. It's a much better thing than doing the dinner that we had. It's reached so many more veterans and we've had so many more returns with that. And we thought we'd really saturated the county and we really hadn't yet. We got a lot of responses to that. So that we're going to continue doing that. And I'm sure along with that will be some growth in the income also.
Well, if anybody's been watching the news the last couple of days, we sure can appreciate our veterans.
Amen.
And it really takes the gals in that office to sit with them and work through the benefits that they're eligible for. And it all does take,
consuming.
it is.
Oh, you
yeah.
couldn't, I couldn't believe the time that they have to make. They spent hours on one claim, and I say hours, it's 8 to 12. By the time they get all the paperwork they need, the information from the veteran, maybe even the information if they have to go visit the VA hospital to get doctors for disabilities, and it's tremendous the amount of hoops that they have to jump through.
Yeah, you gotta do it right.
Well, if you don't do it right, you don't get the end, and they come back, they have to refill it out again and do it again. It's just, and it just draws out and out.
So as you advertise for this position, I know you were talking salary range here for between 39 and 45. Does your board make that decision on the salary when you get the applicant, or does it come back?
So this board of supervisors actually sets the pay for the position.
Yeah.
Okay, so we would get to see the applicant or be a part of the interview or
We would interview, I think, is that correct? The commission interviews, but as far as the salary, some of that is constrained by how qualified they are.
Sure.
If they are certified already, obviously that's a savings to the county. You don't have to send them
Right.
to get
Absolutely.
certified and those types of things. So I think that's what you were talking about, Becky, right?
Yeah.
So would
The
human
pay
resources be part of
range-
the interview?
Then bring us the recommendations.
Yeah, they would actually appoint the person. The board sets the salary for the position.
Oh, they appoint and then.
They do, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So they're here today to ask for the range
Mhm.
based on qualifications. I would anticipate it being similar if they were to get somebody qualified that's already accredited at the 45, to start them at the 43 like we did recently. And then upon accreditation, whether they can get into that in October, or maybe it would be February, then that amount would already be, authorized for them to allocate that increase to the position.
Well, we certainly have seen in the past, individuals moving on for a better position, so it's.
And we've had 2 directors in the last 8 years, and this isn't something you want to go through every 4 years.
Oh,
So
I
hopefully-
think this position is emotional draining on.
Oh, I'm
The
sure it
directors.
is. I know
I
it has
think
been
that's,
in the
they get
past.
burnout. I think that's why we've gone through the people that we have. To sit down and listen to a veteran and try to be compassionate and still get all the information you need. It works on a person's.
Well, we certainly need to be competitive, and I would venture to say that it was a full-time position. I would venture to think should be a full-time position for the director. And if you believe the need is to still have the 30 hours in for the part-time or assistant, I can't.
Well, I think
I'm not
that's.
in there, I'm not over there, so I don't.
I think we've seen some of that already, Mike, in terms of Debbie's needing to do these administrative things, so a lot of the duties fall on Christie right now, and she felt a little overwhelmed. I think you
Yes.
were approached,
Yes, I was.
Mr. Wiley, about that, and I think all of that now is in the wash with Debbie resigning, but I think that just points additional to what was going on.
Yeah, she certainly doesn't have much free time.
No, obviously not.
So you're looking for action on to approve the salary range, or are we approving the advertising also?
The salary.
Well, first of all, I think
Position.
moving to a
Full-time.
full-time, and second, approving the
Along with that, the
salary.
salary range.
Yes, and then obviously Becky's moving quickly to try to advertise this position, but Deb has indicated she'd be willing to help with a new person and help them get them going, and she still feels tied to this department, and rightfully so. She's done a lot of work.
I wish her, appreciate what she's done for us, and wish her the best, yeah.
Mhm.
I would make a motion to approve their position as to full-time and in the salary range as indicated.
Second.
With a motion and a second to approve the full-time position in 39 to 45,000 salary range. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. And just on a side note, our health administrator, thank you, did start yesterday, Elizabeth Thompson. She hit the ground running. She's in her office. If after the meeting, I know she was gonna jump in and do some water samples. There was a list compiling of that. So if you're free after the board meeting, stop down, see if you can catch her.
Will do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Beth Gerlach, Jackson County Treasurer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You all have your packet, I hope.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers on that.
There are a lot of numbers on that, you're right.
Is there
Tell me this before you start. Is there any red flags on these now?
Not that I'm aware of, besides interest is terribly low, but I don't think we all know that.
Well,
criminal?
Mhm.
I mean, there's two different sides to that.
Yeah, right, yeah,
Buying or selling.
that's true. Okay, so the first page is the semi-annual report, so you would have gotten a review of this from July of December for the first half, and this is now from January to July 2021.
Can we make it smaller next time?
Yeah, right. So
Just get better glasses. you know?
magnifying
I don't know where to
glass
look on the top or the bottom.
out. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column over, or the second one over from the right, fund balance for June At the bottom, you'll see that number of $14,957,767.43. That is the number that I balanced to for end of fiscal year. And I balance with the auditors as well, and that's what this report's gonna show you. So this is the semi-annual report that would get put in the newspaper.
It's always good to balance.
Yes, it's good to balance, that balance. And balance on hand, 14,957,767.43. That's the number that we are going with. So that newspaper copy, if it's approved. The next one is a spreadsheet that I do, the semi-annual settlement, which shows the breakdown of my balances and the auditor's balances. So the first column is the auditor's balances, then any outstanding warrants, and then mine. And the goal is for the auditor's balances plus any outstanding warrants to balance with the number that I have. And you'll see down at the bottom there, that 14,957,767.43 is there. So we balanced in accounting. And then another spreadsheet that I do for semi-annual is the breakdown of cash on hand, total cash in hand, and then what's in office. And so the first half of that sheet, you'll see that magic number again, the 14,957,767 is there. So that means everything that we have in office and in banks balances with what we say we have. Also good. The second half of that sheet is just showing the balances of the bank statements and any interest in transit that we had from the statements to our balances. And the number that we're looking at there is 14,903,197.17, bottom far right corner. So that is our total cash in banks. Also a number that we balance to.
Where is the Northwest Bank of Iowa?
That is not even a bank that we use. So Northwest Bank of Iowa, we use iPay. And they change banks a lot.
Oh,
So they've changed banks twice since I've been here.
Oh.
I think when Al was here, it was Northwest Bank, and when Nancy was here, and then it changed to another bank. And since I started now, it's US Bank. So it's our iPaid accounts. It just still says Northwest Bank, I think, on the spreadsheet, but right now it's US Bank. But yeah, so the general basic account is there. And one thing you'll notice for the iPaid account, the way that it was set up is the general account, which has the majority of our funds in it. And then there were a number of sub accounts below it. So partial future, recorders, records management, E911, insurance pool, dental pool. So those, there was really no reason to have sub accounts for. We keep them separate in accounting, but we don't need to keep them separate in the bank account.
okay.
So essentially what was happening was I was just separately adding interest to each one of those sub accounts at the
Ah,
same rate as the general account,
mhm,
creating more work for myself and more paperwork for Mary to check through every month.
okay.
So I closed all the sub accounts out and just transferred all of those balances to the general basic. Everything besides the Green Island drainage and the Green Island Mooney Hollow, because it's my understanding that those are supposed to be kept separate for interest reporting. So those still remain.
If you want to keep Roger happy.
Yeah.
You better do that.
What you want to do. So I left those as is, but the rest of them all just got moved up to the general basic. It's the exact same interest rate. I was just essentially printing 6 sheets of paper for each one of those sub accounts when I really didn't need to be. So those are now closed out, and you'll see that on the next few sheets here. This spreadsheet right here is the daily balancing sheet. So I use this every day to balance accounting and banking together. towards 3/4 of the way down over here is where you're gonna see that I balanced the 14,957,767.43. And then the other number of the bank balances is in the middle, the 14,903,197.17. So that's there, and then the rest of these are all spreadsheets that just break all the information that's in these pages down even more. So not as important, but the cash on hand is the next sheet, so that breaks down the dollar amount that we keep in office and how we have it, nickels, pennies, 20 cents, everything. The next sheet is the total of the bank accounts and the investment accounts. And that's where you're gonna see those sub accounts zeroed out. Under the investment accounts, the general basic is the 10,769,000, but that includes all of the rest of those, so that's moved up there. And then the next one is our time certificates balances at Boulder State Bank. And again, there are some separated out for Green Island drainage there too. And the next sheet is debits and credits and webs. So this is for me to balance what's pending in our office. So we've done the work, we've received payment, we've processed payment for these with the credit card machines and the online payments. We haven't actually received the money in our bank account yet. So these two sheets, the next two sheets are what's pending for us to be received as of June 30th, 2021. We were still waiting for those deposits to come in. And then the last page is the banking and investments balance sheet. So again, that just shows the balance that I keep in the bank accounts for every bank account, and you'll see that big area right here that now shows inactive, but that shows that those were zeroed out too. So that's why that space is there. A lot of numbers.
Yeah, so again,
You're just gonna
I'm
rely on
look it over
the,
all day long, so I'm asking you that everything is kosher and we're looking good.
yeah, we're balanced and everything's where it should be.
Thank you for what you do.
Do you need action on that, Beth?
Yes, I believe I
would make a
do.
motion to approve the semi-annual report.
That was second.
A motion in a second, and we need to sign it as well.
Yeah, what
For
you
the chair to
sign,
Well, I think we all sign.
We don't sign.
yeah, you all sign it. I don't know if you want to sign my copy or if you have a copy you want signed.
Mine's 3-hole punched.
It is, okay. You want them to sign this one?
Okay,
Might as well get the signatures now.
well, a motion in a second, all those in favor?
And I
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
think Lisa will sign it then. She has to next. Signatures now.
So Beth, are they sending the semi-annual? And you're authorizing it to be published.
Yep,
Yes.
part of the rules.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
When you're done, can you stop over now? That's true. All right, see you later.
Okay, visitors or citizens? And it's just exactly 9:30, so. Do we have anybody? See anybody that maybe is, so. Next up is TJ Allen, security guard from courthouse. Good morning, guys. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Morning.
So in front of you guys should have a quote for a new security camera. The Jackson County Security Committee kind of got together and talked about this. And it was approved through them and they thought it was a good idea to bring to you guys. We're just looking to get another camera to fill in a blind spot that we've got with the probation offices and that south stairwell.
Right,
It kind of go in an area where we could see both down the stairwell to the middle landing and also see the probation offices. Because of the people that the probation offices bring in, people kind of wait around in that area, for court appearances. The stairs is kind of a liability thing where, Lynn Mettinger, brought up that people have said that they've fallen down the steps and try to claim a lawsuit through that or what have you. So that would kind of give us a visual, make sure that we're just surveilling every bit of the building as much as we can. We've got the budget that's set aside for the security measures. This wouldn't take too much of a dent out of it. It's quote for $2,200, just a little bit over. And then there'd be $1,000 ICAP grant that Sarah Davenport brought to my attention that we could apply for. So with that $1,000 ICAP grant, bring it down to just around $1,200 or so. And after it would be approved, then I'd apply for that grant.
And no one else has applied for that, correct?
Correct. Sarah had sent out an email to make sure that nobody else had interest in applying for that grant, and nobody has emailed her back with any interest, so.
Do we have cameras showing the north stairwell?
We do,
We do.
yes.
Going
There's-
down it too, or just the top?
There's one at the top, which would be like the northwest corner of the building, I guess. And then in that room, it shows at an angle down to the middle landing.
Yeah.
And then there's one at the bottom that would come up to the middle landing.
Yeah, I can certainly see that area there where the probation office, the offices would be should be secured.
There is a camera at the bottom of the stairwell on that south side, so it does see to the middle landing a little bit, but there's obviously nothing
Nothing at the top
at
or
the
in
top.
that area.
You can kind of see a little bit into that lobby area where the 3 steps are that go from, I guess, the main level to up towards the district courtroom. But there's the glass doors there, and if you get a glare on that or something like that, you can't see through it very well. And you can't see the landing of the steps, and you can't see around the corner of the walls where the probation offices are. So,
Well, we certainly want to limit our liability as far as, you know.
I would make a motion to approve.
And I would second.
A motion and a second to add the additional camera. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's not contingent upon getting the grant though either, correct?
No,
Okay.
okay. I was gonna say, we'll apply for that grant now that it's been approved.
and we'll hope you get it. And if you don't, we'll still proceed.
Sounds great.
And how much was the quote?
The quote was for
22.
2259.090.
You want a copy of it?
From CDM. Do you want to copy?
actually, yeah, I've got an extra copy that I just brought with me.
Oh. That logo was familiar.
Yep.
Yeah, I got one.
Sweet.
Sorry.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now it's Shelley's turn.
Okay. First thing I see is motion needed to approve the minutes of the August 10th supervisors meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And then I have claims that need to be approved in the amount of $289,260.56.
Motion to approve.
Second. Don't do that every month.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then I need a motion to accept and place on file the Veterans Affairs Commission meeting minutes from August 11th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And then the last thing I have is I need approval of a resolution Resolution number 831-08-17-2021, certifying delinquent Leisure Lake sewer assessments to the county treasurer for property tax collection.
Motion to approve.
I would second with the comment that that looks pretty good compared to other years, don't it?
You mean other
Yes.
times?
Other
Since
times,
we've
yeah.
got multiple during
Yeah.
a single year. Yes, and it's the same ones. And some of them getting the final letter that I put this on their taxes and then they pay.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
just that.
If it so does that they don't, we move over.
Okay,
We have a motion in a second. I
Yeah.
haven't really approved that yet.
okay, we're waiting for you to get finished.
I'm done.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Is that it for you, Shelley?
Yes. Well, send this out now. And then,
Okay.
yes,
Next would be Luann Goki, our administrative assistant. Who's got a long list?
It looks like a long list. The probably won't be that bad. Good morning.
Morning.
Start with the calendar. 6 o'clock tonight is a conservation board meeting that was supposed to be at Hurstville, and it's gone now to a Zoom only meeting for Larry or any of you that want to go. That's been the trend on the meetings this week. They are switching back to Zoom only meetings instead of in-person meetings. I assume because the COVID is kind of raging
And
again.
that is recorded too, right, Larry? I mean, the Zoom.
Pam was gonna check. I don't know why
I don't know.
I didn't check.
We
on it.
really have a way to do that out. Well, you have before though. I've watched you.
If it's on Zoom,
We
Yeah,
recorded Zoom, yeah.
Yeah, zooming we will. Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, if you're off-site somewhere, that one.
They're still doing a site visit tonight at Happy Farm. They started work on the farm.
I don't have any information on that. I thought they were gonna be at the Hurstville Wine Kilns tonight. But sure.
That's what I read.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. That was just an update. They are.
Just go to the right place.
Or just click my thing and I'm there.
It'll be the next step up from Zoom meetings is instant transportation to these places. Okay, Wednesday, August 18th at 1 PM is the Mississippi Valley Workforce CEO meeting in Muscatine for Jack. Thursday, August 19th at 9 AM is a Housing Trust Fund meeting for Mike, and that will now be by Zoom. 5:30 Thursday night is the Jackson County Area Tourism Association's annual banquet. That will be at Bellevue State Park.
I thought that was canceled.
No,
No,
signed up for it. Yeah, signed, yeah.
I don't- yeah, I don't know who signed up for it because I wasn't here last week, so.
Jan and I are signed
Huh?
up. Jan and I are. signed up.
I thought on my iPad it was Xed out.
Tom just answered me yesterday, so yeah.
Okay.
Well, the trick business with Zoom meetings and the iCalendar is that if they have to change the meeting, they have to send out a cancellation and then send a new invitation. And what it looks like on your calendar is if they cancel the meeting, because that's what shows up.
Yeah.
So, but it may not be. You have to look and see if there's another invitation there. We'll look at it, but I've seen that happen before. It looks like it's
So
canceled.
on our calendars anymore, when we go to the calendar, the Zoom is not actually on the calendar anymore either, is it?
I try to put them in there. I try to put the Zoom links on the calendar.
Last time when I opened it up and it wasn't, I had to go back to the.
And I try to attach the agenda, so you can
Yeah.
always go that way, because
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't work without, from the agenda, sometimes it does. It's kind of the Wild West out there right now.
It is. You never know if you're gonna get there or not.
Okay, so, but if you need help with that, I will double check with Tom Devine and make sure everybody that wants to go can go to that tomorrow.
As of yesterday,
Thursday.
he said everything was good, so.
And that's tomorrow night,
that's
Thursday.
tomorrow night.
Thursday.
Thursday night, the 19th.
Okay.
6:30 on Thursday night is Limestone Bluffs RC&D that was supposed to be in person is now a Zoom only meeting, and that's for
Okay.
Jack.
So then they were talking about which direction they wanted to go. And so I called her to tell her that whatever she decided was fine with me. So.
Right. But we're seeing apparently a lot of breakthrough infections on the
Yeah.
COVID and people are getting nervous about it again, so. Friday, August 20th at 9:30 a.m. is the Macocata River Watershed Management Authority's tour with the students from Isaac. And I put that schedule in your calendar entry. Larry's the only one that I know of that's going to be attending that, and they're not gonna be here until 3 p.m. or thereabouts, so. Monday, August 23rd at 4 p.m. is an early childhood Iowa council meeting. Into it in person yet for Jack. At 5 o'clock on Monday is the Mississippi Valley Workforce Meeting by Zoom, also for Jack. And then at 7 o'clock, Jack has Together Rebuild. So it's one of those days when Jack goes all day long.
Church bells.
I know.
Mhm.
Probably
The
a-
church bells are going off.
one of those junk phone calls that you don't want to answer, so. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, August 24th at 9 a.m. And that will be the kickoff to the Isaac Conference in Des Moines. All your hotel reservations start Tuesday night. If you need to change that, let me know. Larry actually has an Isaac's meeting in Des Moines that night at 5 o'clock. And I will be out again next week, so. Shelley's gonna cover for me.
And I will be out in Des Moines too.
So it's gonna be a very interesting week, right? So,
Well, I'll be out there, so.
right, yeah, hopefully you won't need a lot on this end.
Mhm.
I will be monitoring my emails like I always do, but. It's okay. Business today, I'm gonna start with the resolutions of reappointment. It looks like we have 4. There actually are only 2 resolutions. The one resolution is reappointment of the benefited fire district trustees. For Sebula, it would be Terry McCully. For Miles, it would be Greg Matheson. And for Andrew, it would be Greg Summers. And those are for 3-year terms that expire in December 31st of 2023. So I'm looking for approval of that resolution.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
The second resolution is for the reappointment of the Eastern Iowa Regional Housing Authority Commissioner for a 2-year term that would also expire in August 31st of 2023, and that's for Kathy Seifert.
Motion to approve.
I would second.
Motion and a second to approve Kathy Seifert. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
The other thing on my business is discussion possible action on the 911 radio update.
I mean, I think we were going to look for, so they were gonna look at a little more information as far as who had, or they were gonna make presentations, I think, to municipalities, correct? Am I remember right?
I think that's what we talked about.
That they were gonna take it to the municipalities and see what kind of skin they would have in the game.
Okay,
And I think we certainly need to get through next week and see what happens in Des Moines.
Yeah.
before we-
Yeah, a lot of information coming, so.
Yeah, I mean, I had an email the other day that showed that they bought a sheriff car with. Safety.
Okay.
right,
So we'll table that.
we'll table that, all right. Okay, that's all I had.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time we'll recess till we're joined by Lynn Bowles. We'll reconvene. At this time, we're reconvening. We're being joined by Lynn Bowles, Jackson County Coordinator of Disability Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jack and I attended the Regional Governing Board meeting for the month of August yesterday, so a little bit of an update on that. David Farmer made a presentation, kind of a brief presentation this time financially because he was waiting for some more complete data from one of the counties. It looks like the region's fund balance is approximately $5 million as of June 30th of this year. And it looks like, according to his records, and I have not compared this with Shelley's, but Jackson County has about $416,000, $449 left in that,
like that.
yeah, in that ballpark. So keeping in mind that this is a fiscal year that at June 30th of 2022, we need to have a 40% fund balance. The region was just over that a little bit, but that was discussed a little bit in terms of what that means for the region in this current fiscal year. And we talked a little bit about this the last time when I was here. Looks like the region's revenues in money in the bank will be about 16 million for this fiscal year. That's a combination of some of the state dollars that are being kicked in, the portion of local property tax dollars, and then the 5 million fund balance. So at the end of this fiscal year, we'd like to have our ending balance at the end of the fiscal year to be at 40% of our total expenditures for the year. So we'll see where we land. We talked last time about some new programs that would be coming into place. That is still the plan for the money. In September, the management team will be presenting a list of recommendations to the governing board about some additional expenditures, some either new programming or enhancing existing programs. So,
Sustainable program.
pardon me,
Sustainable program.
required programs, I'm gonna put it that way.
Okay.
They should be sustainable by the providers, because some of the required ones are Medicaid billable. But as I sit here today, on August 17th of 2021, I can't guarantee what sustainable funding will be like for Medicaid 2 and 3 years from now. Keeping in mind that our revenue will keep increasing the next several fiscal years based on Senate File 619. So there will be some continued funds available to the region. So one of the new programs that was presented on yesterday, and again, I think we talked to you guys about this after the July meeting, is a vocational program, individual placement and supports. Robert Young had submitted a proposal and done a presentation last month. This month, Vera French Community Mental Health Center out of Davenport submitted a proposal also for the same program. And the reason I'm calling it the same program is it is a evidence-based program, so it has some structures, some expectations of how it's to be presented. Robert Young's proposal would be to cover Cedar, Scott, Muscatine, Clinton, and Jackson counties. And Vera French's would be just for Scott County. And kind of the reason that unfolded that way was Vera French was a little bit ahead of the curve on this, and they had actually started implementing this particular IPS program, as it's called, trying to do it on a trial basis in Scott County. So they already had it in place before the state has made some grant money available.
And they had their coordinator, they've hired that individual as well.
Yes, they're working with an agency called Transitions, which you might be familiar with from like the mental health court. I believe they do some of the work through the mental health court. So yeah, they have several components of it already in place. They put in a request yesterday to the governing board for $75,000 in startup cost if they were awarded what they call an early adopter site. What that means is if DHS designates them as one of the programs that the state will kick in some money to. So I don't know, Jack, if you want to add anything about that program or.
Well, basically, it's trying to get people that have mental health issues back in the workforce. And it's a wonderful program, and I hope it really does what it kind of, you know, we've talked about shelter workshop. This isn't that. This is to get them employed and give them some support in case, you know, they might have a flare up or there might be a problem. But I was really impressed yesterday with Richard Whitaker's presentation.
Yeah.
We have several programs like that in South Judicial or drug court and.
Yeah. So the good thing about this is both providers have experience in that. Transitions being the contracted provider for Vera French, and then Robert Young has quite a well-involved vocational service program.
And to your normal question, this would be sustainable because after they are allocated in IPS, they can go add Medicaid dollars to help pay for those expenses. So it should be able to be sustainable.
Yeah, both providers are required to become credentialed or accredited as a Medicaid provider for this particular, for supported employment services, and then also similar credentialing and accreditation for Iowa Voc Rehab. And then that's where the funding will come from, those two state entities. The board heard a report yesterday from Christine Gratter, the Children's Care Coordinator, and she continues. I don't know, Jack, if you had a chance, if Lori sent that out to the board, but she has quite a long list of exactly who she has spoken to and who she is planning to come. She has really hit the ground running as we knew she would because she's so familiar with the players. She didn't have to make initial connections with anyone. So I think you will continue to hear things evolve. It will be a process. It will take a while, but.
But she has been to all 5 counties and
Yeah.
visited different people.
Yeah, she came and met with myself here a couple of weeks ago and plans to come back and meet with hopefully some of the schools and things like that. I guess the last thing I would just mention is Lori gave a report. Lori and David Farmer participated in a meeting. Dawn Smith from Cedar County was ill, so she was not able to participate, but there were in the committee meeting that ISAC formed to discuss some of the mechanics, some of the details of transitioning from county to state funding. So the two concerns that were raised from our region were, and I think this is a concern across the state, how will positions like myself get paid? Because we are county employees, but the county will not have money coming in from local property taxes. Ultimately, the payment to the county will come from the region's fiscal agent fund, but just the mechanics of how that will work, I think the direction they're looking is that counties will figure out what fund they can pay the coordinator of disability services out of, and then on a reimbursement basis quarterly, will receive reimbursement from the region back to the county for the expense, all expenses related to that position, all payroll expenses
So
related.
the region will get it from the state and the region will pay it to the county.
After the county submits some type of an invoicing system, an invoice to verify the actual costs that the county incurred by having that position as an employer of record in that county. The other area that was raised as a concern is by June 30th of 2024, that fiscal agent fund is supposed to be at 5% fund balance at the end of the year. So concerned that that's not an adequate amount of money for cash flow purposes. And it sounds like they were getting some support from that. Jeff Sorensen from Muscatine County indicated he was in a phone call, I think, with the elected officials, was it? And they seemed to understand that that was too small of an amount of money to cash flow regions for the first couple of months until that first quarterly payment comes through from the state. So that was about it, as far as I can remember. Anything you want to add, Jack?
Not really, I don't think.
No.
I was really impressed with Christina.
Yeah, she
I was
really,
happy that she'd been to the 5 counties and she's gonna work with schools. Oh, the other thing that I was very happy about from the crisis services was their comment about being here in Jackson County and working with the sheriff's department. And giving them some training, and said that they were very receptive to it and it went really well.
yeah, 2 people from the crisis system came and met with, I think it was 10 of the jail staff were able to participate in the training. And both people that presented are familiar with the criminal justice system as well as the mental health system. They have that great combination, which is so important. So they understand kind of what jailers face or what sheriff's departments face in their correctional facility. So tomorrow morning, actually, Jen Kraft, the program director for the crisis system, is coming and joining the executive director of National Alliance for the Mentally Ill out of the Quad Cities, Angela Gallagher, and myself, and we're going to meet with city employees for 2 trainings. They're going to have the same training repeated twice and have city department heads, and I'm not sure who will all be there at City Hall. There's 2 sessions scheduled in the morning. So that was initiated by interim city manager Mallory Smith, reaching out to NAMI to ask if they could do some kind of presentation. So that'll be good exposure as well. So So that's it.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.
I guess, last week we had a meeting, working on replacement of our Jackson County Economic Alliance Director. I guess the conversation kind of boiled around to, salary and benefits. And one of the main concerns that was brought up is the fact that, the Alliance Board, really does not allow or doesn't pay health insurance, and that was a big issue. And as Lynn indicated, Scott County is the employee of record for Lori and her staff. And I know for the Iowa Workforce Development, Muscatine County is the employee of record, and Miranda gets her expenses and her check, and all of that comes from Muscatine County, and she has the same benefit package as Muscatine County offers their employees. And so I didn't know, David Heyer said, is that through a 28E agreement, or how did they work that out? And I didn't think it was a 28E agreement, but I thought I would check with Jeff Sorensen, and he was at the meeting yesterday. And he said, no, we do not have a 28E. It is just a memorandum of understanding that the eight counties that are in the Mississippi Valley region for workforce, all are a part of that MCO, and they will share in the expense of that individual. So they actually reimburse Muscatine County for their share of it. And so, anyway, that's how they do it. And I know that they thought that, when we talk salary range, one of the big drawbacks to that job is the fact that they don't have health insurance. So,
I didn't know that.
no, they don't have it.
I guess I didn't.
And so anyway, they do have a 501, a retirement fund, 501,
Or 501.
504, yes, thank you. I had one too, and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, they felt that if the county would do something like that, that the salary could probably be less if we were giving some kind of benefits to that individual. So I said, well, I would find out from Jeff how they did it. And then I would bring it to the board if it's something we want to look at and consider. I think that the Alliance, if we could offer some kind of benefit to them rather than just the salary, we could probably hire someone at a lesser fee when we're looking at, if it's a family, looking at $18,000 to $19,000 in health insurance alone.
So do we know how the 401k is set up? That's not like it. That wouldn't be like an IFRS thing though, so it'd be a
No.
private.
You just pay in.
Well, I think it's something you certainly probably need to look into if you're gonna retain somebody. The insurance is a big thing anymore, and I didn't realize that they didn't have. So would it,
No, they pay.
would it be in agreement with the other municipalities that are also funding that position?
Well, I think that that's what we would have to decide if we want to go out and reach to the partners and see, or if it's.
Well, there's a lot of partners.
Well,
here.
if there's a balance, I mean,
The municipality partners,
Yeah.
not
Private,
the
yeah.
companies.
well, he was getting what, 82,000?
Yeah.
So if you could
82.4, I
pay
think.
somebody, say 64. And give them health insurance, then you're in the same budget. I mean, you're not really.
Well,
talking
yeah,
any
but I
difference there,
don't
but
know.
know We're gonna hire somebody for
You're
that too.
just redistributing
Yeah.
that expense.
Mhm. Same package deal, it's just.
But I
I'm
think that,
thinking they're guessing something in the mid-70s and then still offer insurance. That's probably what they're thinking. I don't know, but.
Well, I think.
I don't know,
I-
depends on what you get for applicants too, you know.
I'm not positive, but I think the range, salary range that they were gonna advertise was 65 to 90.
My suggestion will be to talk to Becky.
I'm going to. Well, Becky was at the meeting.
Oh, she was.
I
Oh,
invited
oh,
her.
oh.
I invited her to come. So that she understood what we were looking at.
Yep.
And she is actually going to be receiving the applications.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
I thought it was best that it was handled through us rather than through the work from the Jackson County Economic Alliance.
Sure.
I just thought that way she can make copies of all of the applications, send them out to the members of the selection team that's going to do the interviewing and move that in that direction. And if they're willing, have her set in on the interview.
As long as she's willing to do that, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
she said she
because-
was.
Yeah, because.
I went and talked to her
Yeah,
a couple days before the meeting because she was on vacation. And then so we got together and I talked to her and she said she'd be willing to do that. So she met with us at 8 o'clock that morning.
so I'd have to see actually, like you said, the municipalities, how much percentages. What's our percentage compared to Macocota, say? Are they?
Well, I think that Don Schwenker was on the meeting
Okay,
and I think he said Macocota allocates 60,000
yeah, I don't know what percentage
Yeah.
that is of the, you know,
of the overall.
so what's their say in it? In the hire or in the salary, or do they have a say in it? Does Bellevue have a say in it? You know what I mean?
Well, the board would have a say in it,
Yeah, okay,
the Economic Alliance
Right.
Board.
okay.
That makes sense, complete sense. So we'll continue looking at that and I asked Jeff if he could send us a copy of their MCO or their agreement, MOU, memorandum of understanding, and just so that we can review it and see what options we might have.
And what was the consensus of the board or as far as the insurance proposal or anything like that? Was there a consensus on that?
They would like to be able to offer it. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Because they think that's obviously quite a drawing.
Yeah, no doubt.
So other than that, that's all I have. We do have a work session starting at 10:30 with Mike Griffin and Bruce Fisher, and then some students and faculty maybe from ISU. So we will adjourn the meeting and then that will be a work session. And I understand there's going to be 12 of them attending. And so we'll be moving down to the community room downstairs for our work session. So
Yeah, I don't have any other reports, I don't think at this time.
do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second?
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.